Hey, are you looking for a cheap build with high defensive capabilities that you can upgrade over time? Well, Poison Arrow might be a good choice for you. Currently, I'm level 98 on the Darkshrine Hardcore League, and I've swapped to Poison Arrow at around level 70. I was initially Cyclone, but because of the low defense capabilities without a lot of gear invested, I couldn't really do anything above tier 8 maps without a constant fear of dying, and I was dropping very low in most maps I was doing. I had around 20 C, and I decided, you know what, I'm a Scion, I can go Poison Arrow. Now, it's mostly best to go Poison Arrow as a Ranger or Scion, but you could probably do it, at least with Duelist and a few other classes, at a disadvantage, but Scion would be the best class. Now, the first item you need a 5-link bow. Now, once you get a 5-link bow for like 2 to 3 C, you can roll a +2 to bow. So, I'm currently using a +3 bow, which is what you'll want as your endgame item. But just rolling +2 bow is very cheap, and usually you'd really use less than 200 alterations. If you regal the suffix, you can later craft +3 to bow gems for 2x souls. Now, the second item you want is a Cloak of Flames. Cloak of Flames mitigates a lot of your physical damage taken as fire damage. It does it against your 85 fire resist because you're using a ruby potion. So the character doesn't have any armor, so this is the main source of its physical mitigation. Other than that, physical would be super scary, and any crit from physical damage would likely kill you. The other item is also very cheap, not as cheap as the Cloak of Flames, but Blood Dance is around 10 to 15 C depending on when in the league you buy them. Give you very high regen, give you very good damage, get around 600-700 health per second. You can later try to get a Valor pair for +1 Frenzy Charge, which is going to be around 3 to 4x to buy. But there's a lot of pieces in this you can gradually upgrade over time. Later on, you also want to get a Hidden Potential. You don't want to get that in the start because it's pretty hard to balance all your assists around having blue items. What Hidden Potential does at 20 to 25% is increased damage for each magic item you have equipped. Currently I'm wearing 5 blue items, and the main reason I can do that is Cloak of Flames. A lot of people like wearing Lightning Coil, and I've chosen not to do that because I find that with a Taste of Hate, which is going to be your endgame survival item, you don't really need a coil and you can wear so much more damage, and a lot of your damage is your protection as well because mobs drop so fast that they're not going to get to hit you, especially not in melee. And ranged monsters, you have such a hard chance of being one-hitted by anyway, and you have a very good triple layer defense. So the triple layer defense is you have Grace, which puts you up to 48% chance to evade. I have around 11k evasion. Obviously, if my level was lower, it would show a slightly higher, it would be around 52-53%. And you have Acrobatics, which gives you a 40% dodge chance. This paired with all the items you have is going to give you a very nice mitigation against everything. Nothing's really going to one-hit you. The main thing you want to avoid on maps is vulnerability and monster damage. That's quite scary because it increases all the physical damage so much. Elemental damage on the map is not that scary. I'm currently sitting at nearly 6k health, and this is like what I'm sitting on now is a very endgame character. Later I'm going to show you like some of the differences. I'm going to show a video of me playing Poison Arrow early on when I only had around 20 to 30 chaos worth of gear, and I'm going to be showing some footage of what it looks when it's finally fully evolved. So the links I'm currently using is Increased Area of Effect, Conk Effect, and Power level 4, Poison Arrow level 21, Pierce, and Sword Projectiles. Now, if you didn't have a 6th link, I'd probably drop out Ink Area of Effect, or if you don't have a Drill link, you could also drop out Pierce. Depends a little bit about how you want to play. I usually prefer having Pierce in. Drilling also being one of the early pieces you want to get. It's around 1 to 2 exalts. You'd probably get that after getting Hidden Potential. Before you get a Drill Knight, one of the easy ways to get resist cap even while wearing blues is wearing a rare quiver with triple res, which is going to cost you around 5 to 10 C for a decent one. Now, if we look a little bit at the skill tree, it's very linear. I have leveled up past this build before, and for the first 37 to 40 levels, you usually start out with Flame Totem, but you don't start as a different build. Like, you don't need to use any regrets. Usually, I move down here for the projectile damage nodes, which will affect your Flame Totem, and you take some of the health nodes as well just to survive early on, because you don't really need that much damage. You drop out the jewel nodes early on, you wouldn't pick those, and then you just linearly move through the tree. just looked a little bit at the tree now. I'm also going to be posting that later in the comments. Now, the other option is you could go Lightning Coil, but then you'd have to drop out 2 rares, which in my opinion isn't worth it when it gives you so much of a defense with the Taste of Hate. The current potion setup I'm using is a Seething of Heat. That's the first potion. I prefer that over a Bleeding. So I'm Bleeding on a Quicksilver just to counter Bloodline packs. If you kill a big Bloodline packs, there's a big chance you're going to get one shot by the Crafting Blood before you have time to act, especially if you're playing for long stints of time and you're quite sleepy. Curse removal on a Ruby Flask with Charge Recovery is also ideal. I like using a Surgeons of Grounding, or just any grounding. Like, it doesn't really matter what's on your mana potion, it's got so many charges, it's going to be up most of the time. So any of grounding is what you want, and your endgame flask is Taste of Hate. Until then, you can have either a elemental resist potion or a second healing potion. I find that I don't really use my healing potion a lot though. Granite works as well pretty early on, although it's going to give you very little physical mitigation. It's also easy to use this build as an MF character. You can get a lot of MF care early on. I'm now going to be showing you some of the footage of me playing Poison Arrow. I'm first going to start off with some of the low tier gear, and then I'll move on to some high tier gear later on. I hope you enjoyed watching my video. I usually stream at PC Child, so if you're not familiar with me, come visit my channel, and thank you for watching. So here you can see some early footage of me clearing 81 maps. I do have a +3 bow at this point, but it's not 6 linked, and I'm using a level 2 in power, not even a level 3, which is a decent early upgrade. It's going to be one of your like mid expensive upgrades. I don't have a Taste of Hate yet either, so my damage is quite a lot lower than what it is like currently today. At this point it's around 12 to 14k DPS, and it's clearing 81 maps very fast, so at tier 8 to 10 so it would go very fast. You might get slowed down a little bit on the bosses, but all like the white mobs and blue mobs are going to go down extremely fast. You can see that my potion setup is currently 2 health potions. I'd probably recommend going a granite or a lightning potion instead, whatever you feel like, but as you can see I barely ever use my health potions. For curses I'm using Ice Shot, and the reason I'm using Ice Shot with vulnerability is because Ice Shot has an AoE, so it won't just hit whatever you shoot, and you don't need to use chain or anything like that, you just use EMP, Ice Shot, vulnerability, and curse on hit. And if something's not already slowed by your Arctic armor, the thing gets slowed by the Ice Shot. So it's very nice, very big defensive capability for your build. The other abilities I'm using is I have a Val Haste in case I'm ever in a party with someone. You could also pop Val Grace in there for opening boxes, it's quite useful. Rallying Cry increases your damage the more mobs you hit with it. It's quite a significant damage boost, and it helps you maintain your mana. In general, you don't actually need a mana potion unless you're in a low regen map. You have Frenzy for like keeping your Frenzy charges up on bosses. The obvious Blink Arrow. You have a Val Lightning Trap, which is also for bosses and high health rare mobs. It gives a shocked effect to the mob it's targeted on. So it actually increases the damage by quite a large proportion. The other thing you're running is you're running Grace and Arctic Armor. Arctic Armor obviously helps if you're standing still when you're taking damage. So this is what the fully geared PA looks like. Using a level 4 in power, a 6 linked +3 bow, Taste of Hate. You got pretty much everything except a +1 Frenzy Charge Amulet and a +1 Frenzy Charge Blood Dance. The Cloud DPS is currently at around 36k DPS, and you can see that everything is absolutely melting. I'm still using a Cloak of Flames, even though I did find a Lightning Coil, I decided not to go with it. I don't really feel like it's needed. See that I'm not really going low at any points on the map, and this is a vulnerability and crit chance map, which is one of the ones you should watch out for the most. A lot of it is physical damage, which is still your weakest point. Nothing's really bringing me low at this point, and the only thing that really has brought me low has been a triple damage mod map with Leapers. It's always going to be scary for a lot of low physical mitigation builds. You can see that I'm clearing extremely fast, even like a Union of Souls pack wouldn't take very long with this build. Bosses as well drop very fast, especially when you have all your frenzy charges up and you drop the Val Lightning Trap. Vulnerability also coming in very nicely at this point. Hopefully you liked my guide. I will try to make a few more. If you have any requests, please let me know either on my stream or in the comments down below. And thank you for watching.